PEP Radio is a part of the Pennsylvania Equality Project that plays music, news, and weather, actively advocating for the LGBTQ+ and disabled since 2024.
PEP Radio, available on Live 365, Roku, Alexa, and at paquality.com.
Here at Gay SA Radio, we're very happy to welcome the Othering podcast to our airwaves. Catch the show every Thursday at noon CAT, bringing fresh voices and compelling conversations straight to you.
Head over to gsaradio.stream to find out how you can tune in and become part of our family. Don't miss it, only on Gay SA Radio, where you are family.
One man and one woman join forces to rid the world
What are you doing?
of inequality and fascism.
Seriously?
I'm trying I'm trying to do a promo here.
For whom? What are you doing?
Welcome to the Othering Podcast with Mike and Dory. Okay, today we are talking to Steph Stigma. She is a neurospicy rainbow lady who found her calling when she stepped out of the closet and onto the stage to transmute trauma into laughter. Nice, short, sweet, and to the point.
I like
welcome,
that.
Steph.
Yes,
it's
welcome.
Great to have you.
Oh, I wonder who wrote that intro. It's punchy.
I love it. It's nice and to the point, and you know, it gives a good kind of introduction to who you are immediately.
Right, yeah. Emphasis on the trans without the mute part.
Definitely not muted.
So you do stand-up comedy, don't you?
Yeah, that's the main gig these days. Kind of pivoted from musician after, doing that for a couple of decades.
So how did you get into stand-up? I mean,
That's what I was going to ask.
that is like really cool to do, and it's amazingly hard work, and wow. So what started that?
Well, growing up like autistic before people were talking about it, I was just, shut in, or I was just super shy, an old soul, didn't talk much.
Yep.
Cried when the Domino's guy rang the doorbell, that kind of. But I remember seeing our family had just gotten cable and HBO just started being a thing, and I'm dating myself now, age-wise, not sexually. And I remember I was about 8 years old and I saw George Carlin for the first time. And I was just amazed that not only was he hilarious, but that you could do that. Just like that's a thing that people do, is get up on stage and rant and rave and, and to laughter and applause and
make money doing it.
Yeah. And it only took me about like 30 years after that to finally get enough confidence and stage presence to jump out of the plane.
So what was it? What did it take to get that confidence and stage presence? Because I'll say for me, I could never do that. Getting in front of live people terrifies me. In front of a camera with one person like this and then later listening, that doesn't bother me. But on a stage, I'd be shaking like a leaf.
Oh, right. Well, I've been getting on stage playing music for like 30 years, but I always had like an instrument and I was, with other people and but finally getting up and telling jokes, I think my trauma cup overfloweth. It was just like enough shit piled up that I was just sitting in the back patio one day and I just started laughing because everything just seemed so absurd to me all at once. Like, oh, there's all these people just walking around, going about their day-to-day lives, thinking like, oh, I got it all figured out. I got a house and a job and a car but at the same time, nobody knows what the fuck is going on. Like we're all in this grand mystery together. We're all flying by the seat of our pants and just pretending to have some sort of, mask of sanity, when we leave the house. And
keyword some of us.
right, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've seen some leave the house without their, masks of sanity.
I stopped wearing a mask on principle like years ago.
Me too. Like, I remember being a little girl, and my mom would always say it how going to the mailbox, my grandmother would put on makeup and do her hair. And and my mom would always bring that up because I would happily go to the mailbox with my hair sticking up in all directions, no makeup, and in my pajamas, because it's just like, I don't care. It's comfy. I'm just doing a chore. Why do I need to look like I'm ready for my close-up?
Well, I can see it from both sides, honestly, because I used to be nonchalant about it until, my personal safety became an issue, like not outing myself to the conservative neighborhood, it's kind of like
Yeah.
And I like that you brought that up, because that shouldn't have to happen, because once again, you in general being trans does not change my gender any way, shape, or form.
No.
It shouldn't. I mean, if it does, maybe consult a doctor.
Yes, yes, definitely. If something's going on because somebody is trans and my gender is changed, I need to stop seeing the doctor I was seeing or get a doctor, because it has nothing to do with me. Just like,
or cancel your Pornhub subscription.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I don't know about that. The porn we can keep, but the rest I can deal with.
That was directed at more of the, GOP convention types. That
I love it how what is it, like Tinder, that they always end up killing?
I think it was Grinder.
Grinder.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't understand that. Just come out of the closet.
Oh, well, I mean, I live in, like a little blue dot in a, red state. And, I get hit on by plenty of conservatives, like straight guys, hetero flexible guys. And
I like that term.
Yeah, I do too. And it's ridiculous though, because if you like what you like, then it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. You should be able to be free to do that. And if you can choose to be straight when you know you're not, you shouldn't then push that on somebody else. You shouldn't, that's your choice. Fine, whatever. You want to pretend like you're straight, be my guest. But just because you do that, you have no right to then force other people into the box that you forced yourself.
Well, I think the problem is when you attach a lot of religious shame and guilt onto all of that, and you've got this generational system of men are men and they're not allowed to show emotions or cry or anything, or else that makes them a sissy, and get them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly, because you can't throw like a girl, you can't show emotions because that's a girl. You can't run like a girl. It's always about you can't do it like a girl. So then as a boy, you're immediately taught everything that is a girl is terrible and wrong. So now you've got to hate girls. And
that's you got to eat this red pill now.
Right.
Yep.
And it's ridiculous and stupid, because girls are just as powerful and just as wonderful as boys, and non-binaries
really
and trans.
smarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of us in general are just as good, if not better.
Yeah, and that's a tricky thing too. Growing up with the on the other side of the patriarchy, like every single move I made, every single word I said, went through this filter that I was constantly conscious about. Is that too feminine? Is that too feminine? Is that gay? Is that gay? Is that too feminine? And just nonstop on these eggshells. And I think it probably made me a better actor over the years. but through transition, it's been this whole like unlearning process, just stop thinking about that shit and act naturally. and then oh wait, this is easy, this is way easier to be,
And it's also like an unlearning for, I think, everybody that's disabled or LGBTQ plus, because again, from birth, you're taught that girls are yucky and everything about a girl is effeminate. And if you're effeminate, then that's gross. Even as a female, you're also taught you're not supposed to be girly, because girly girl is, the wrong thing to be. You have to be the tomboy if you want to be able to do anything other than, sit in pretty frilly dresses. And it's a lot of a learning curve to deconstruct those rigid boxes of how you're supposed to be as a boy or how you're supposed to be as a girl, and then be able to break that mold and be yourself is awesome, because it's freeing. And
oh hell yeah.
yeah, and it's relaxing. And like I went through being teased because I didn't wear makeup and I didn't have the 80s hair where you have that huge like peacock feather going around with the bangs.
I grew up worried about the ozone layer, I remember.
Yep. And I didn't do that because that wasn't me. It didn't feel right. And I also didn't want to have to deal with the fact that my hair would be tangled if I teased it to do that. So I was just thinking in terms of, I have to brush it out. I'm not doing that bullshit.
Well, and what always made it even more stressful, I think, being neurodivergent, is all of these rules and guidelines just seemed so arbitrary.
Yeah.
Like what does this serve? Who is this for? Like, why is this the way it is? Like, instead of just be.
Yeah.
And little history. Part of it is because when colonialism happened to everybody, in order to get everybody in on, religion and such, you had to be put in those boxes because religion kind of forces those boxes to be there. And you have to fit those boxes. If you don't fit those boxes, then you're going to be labeled an outsider. And in those colonial times, outsider meant you were either enslaved or murdered.
Or, like Cherokee boarding houses. Like my ancestors avoided the Trail of Tears by, assimilating and marrying white people. And so that's how that,
Yeah, my ancestry too. And you had to do those.
Like Asagi, or different, some tribes had 5 genders,
Yeah. All actually, when you delve into that, a lot of the ancient cultures, Celtic, indigenous, everything of all the continents, they all had multiple genders. It wasn't just male and female. There was ones that were in between that were fluid, and that indicated that people were wise and they were revered for their fluidity, because it was assumed that they had reached a higher plane of existence and understanding of the human body. And then when colonialism came, you can't have people with power. You have to then degrade them and shove them into those boxes in order to have power over them. So, thanks to, that manifest destiny, and I'm trying to be nice here, the Pope and various other things, back then it was you assimilate or die.
Well, it's, I tend to, fuck all of that noise.
Exactly.
Like, first of all, nature abhors a binary. It doesn't operate in that way anywhere. But then this whole one like religious cultural paradigm, mankind decided that they're going to take the reins and have dominion over the earth and all its creatures and all of that. And to exert that control is you've got a 1 or a 0, and that's it. And it's just more convenient levers that way. Or I'm sorry, I should probably do it like that way to be patriotic.
Yes.
I don't dance that way. That's just how I have sex.
That's how he wishes he had it.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
It's funny because you don't use video for the podcast, but when I think your listeners will know who we were talking about.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yep.
They should, because I have voiced my opinion about him multiple times. I should say it, because I don't think he deserves anything of respect.
I have a question.
Yes.
If you don't mind.
No, of course not.
Okay.
Go ahead, my Padawan.
I got yelled at for cutting you off before. So you had mentioned that you transitioned a little later in life. At what point was that? And I guess why what made you comfortable enough to do it at that time?
Probably head injuries.
Good answer.
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, it kind of coincided around the same time that I started stand-up. So, like, my comedy and my transition's been like very public because it's been, on stage essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just I just kind of had a break, to be candid, a psychotic breakdown, just a complete kablamo,
Right.
and standing there in the smoldering wreckage that was my life, realizing, oh, I have nothing left to lose. I'm just letting it all out now.
Yeah, and I'm glad, because the more people are able to be themselves, the more other people can see that these boxes that we're pushed in doesn't have to be. And I honestly, for me personally, I think you guys are more evolved than, a lot of us, because you understand both sides. You understand, well, quote unquote, both sides, because there's more than one, just the two sides. But I think, and your beauty shines through way more because you're happy. Your eyes, twinkle when you go through these transitions to become who you are. And seeing
that's what pisses them off so much.
I know.
Exactly.
But you exude so much happiness, and I think it's gorgeous, because being happy should be the goal. It shouldn't be about, trying to keep us unhappy, because what's the point of that?
Well, it's like, have you heard of, did you ever see that TED Talk with the Prime Minister of Bhutan? It's like an old TED Talk, I think.
Yeah,
like
it is an old one. I know
11 to 12 years ago. But yeah, its whole TED Talk was how they're changing the model of their country. They're not using like GDP and these other metrics to measure the success of their country. The number one priority is the happiness index.
Yes.
As it should be.
It should be. Mm-hmm. And, when you look at the happy countries, of course, they have universal health care. They have a representative government that actually, if you are unhappy, you can remove them by certain votes. You can recall them or whatever they want to call it.
In Norway, I hear they just like drive them out into the snow and make them eat rotten fish.
Now there's a lot of people here that should be doing that.
Sounds good.
I like that idea. And we should.
Why don't you invade Greenland on foot in your underwear?
Yes, from here. So you have to go across the ocean without a boat.
Mm-hmm.
And
polar bears can do it.
Yeah, definitely. If polar bears can do it, I don't see why a human can't do it without a boat or a door.
Especially if you've got that insular layer of like McDonald's blubber.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, probably about 40 years of insular bubbler. Oh my God. Blubber from McDonald's is, pretty good there. A little extra Coke so he can, he won't starve. Sorry, I was just thinking about Patrick Star on SpongeBob yelling, "I'm gonna starve," and you see the bubbles of his stomach, and it just reminded me of that. But as I was saying, though, just the fact that it pisses them off is ridiculous, because seeing people happy should be the goal of your, religion or whatever you believe.
Unless you're a psychopath.
Even they like happy people.
Not to my experience, because I've cohabitated with psychopaths before. I've been, as friends, close to as friends as you can with somebody that doesn't, reciprocate those emotions. But like people that have been, clinically, like zero to no or little to no empathy and all of the whole, spectrum. And when I've asked them, like when we talked about, what we want out of life, and, I'm like, I want to be happy. That I want to create beautiful things, and I want to spread love and happiness and all that shit. And like, what about you? They all say almost the exact same words verbatim, and it's chilling. They say, well, I want to watch it all burn, and if I can help, that's even better. That's my main goal.
So why don't they just burn themselves?
Well, there's no fun in that. They don't experience like joy and happiness. Like but the closest they get is sort of like a sadistic satisfaction from, ruining it for everybody else, which I don't know. Like from a Taoist perspective, like you have one force that is, creation creates, and the other destroys, destruction destroys. It's creation versus entropy, and it's kind of a homeostatic thing that,
all the more reason why they can all get together and light each other on fire, and then that way they can watch it burn.
just do an effigy without the effigy part.
Right. They can do that. They can watch each other burn. That way they can see the destruction that they've caused, and they leave the rest of us out of it.
Well, you can see the patterns of cannibalism in any sort of fascist movement, and which, like I when I used to ask my dad, who he used to watch Fox News all the time, and I've been gradually deprogramming him. And but I used to ask him, like, Pops, don't you see like a bunch of transphobia on there? And he's like, well, I don't know. I think you're being too emotional and overreacting. And I was like, oh, thanks, Pops. You do see me as your daughter.
That is a good line to say.
But he would say that, like, fascists don't win very long. Look at how quick we whooped Hitler's ass. And I'm like, well, that's not very useful. You're skipping a big part of the story.
Yes. Yeah, because he got into power, like, in 29. He wasn't removed until the 40s. So, I mean, he had 20 years of destruction to go through.
11.
Whatever. 1 year is too long.
Yes.
I can tell which one of you's the math brain now.
Yeah, it's not me.
Yeah, it was never her.
I admit I am not that great at math anymore. But still, even 1 year is too much for that shit. And you know what gets me the most is that he's doing the exact same thing. He's doing the whole playbook.
Play by play. Yeah.
Saying the exact same words, doing the exact same thing, and people are still like, what? Everything's fine.
Well, they didn't have Netflix back then.
Yeah, that's true.
Or social media, like the intentional zombification of the populace using, tried and true, like, neural programming techniques through, like, light flash patterns and frequency. I went to school for game design originally, so we learned all these, push these dopamine buttons in the brain if you want people to keep playing your stupid game,
Yeah, and that makes sense, but still, how do you not see it? I mean, even if you didn't listen in history class, how do you not see it coming?
No Child Left Behind, the systemic defunding and dismantling of public education and funneling all of those students into privatized, all the rich kids get the education and everybody else, they can barely, read a sentence.
Yep.
Yeah, and it just, education is the one thing that equalizes everybody, allows everybody a chance at something.
Oh, We can't have that. Not in America. What kind of
I know, I know, I know.
talking about?
How dare I think of education as such? But that,
Equality?
yes.
What?
We want equity, and it's just it amazes me at how people don't see these parallels, and then get mad at when you voice these parallels at you, and they're like, well, Obama did this or Biden did that, and it's like, we're not talking about fucking Obama or Biden. They are past presidents. Mm-hmm. They can't do anything right now. And just because they
can accept blame.
Yes, they can, of course. But just because they did something during their terms, people still, fussed about that. Doesn't mean that you can do the exact same thing and not get blamed for it.
Well, I've, because since I'm, pretty public, and I perform wherever they're going to pay me to tell jokes, or sometimes get paid. And so, I occasionally get, certain types that want to approach me and get into, what do you think about what do you think about trans women and women's sports? It's like, I don't know, dude. Like, I've never thrown a soccer puck. Why are you asking me? And but but I can talk politics, and I like to use the Socratic method and strip away the symbols and the people and the names and just go to bare bones policy and questions and leading questions and policy. And if you have a conversation that way, if you can do it without somebody yelling in your face, and that's usually my, okay, I'm leaving. But when you boil it down, like, the vast majority of people, regardless of who they voted for, want the same shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Bingo.
And
tell her what she's won.
Yeah. And if you've pledged allegiance your entire school career, which I did, and it said, justice for all. Not justice just for white men, not justice just for white women, or just for the wealthy. It said for all. And we had to recite that damn thing. So you better fucking believe that I am going to, want to grab my chance of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and justice for all.
Mm-hmm. Absolutamente si.
And life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness also means you have no damn right to shoot me just because I'm going to church or going grocery shopping or going, to pray or whatever.
Well, that was the original idea.
Yes, exactly. And if you're that, honestly, if you're that miserable that you feel like you need to shoot up something, do the world a favor and just yourself. I don't condone suicide. I don't believe in suicide. But if you feel like you need to shoot some kids, yourself.
Yeah, at least shoot yourself in the foot first and see how much it hurts. And then when you're like, oh, shit, that's what I was going to do? Oh, man, wow.
And then check the barrel.
The Othering podcast does not condone violence.
I don't, but still. I just feel like if you have this insane urge to go shoot up people who are innocent, who have nothing to do with what you are unhappy about, then you need to just look at the barrel and make sure everything's all nice and clean down in the barrel.
Or put the fucking phone down, go outside and touch some grass.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. There you go. That's the nicer way to put it.
go like meet people in the real world and have a conversation and realize like, oh, all of this like nonsense noise coming out of the black rectangle doesn't track with, my lived experience at all.
Right. None of it does track. They always talk about it how they have these manifestos, and it's just like, what are you manifesting? You're not manifesting shit. All you're manifesting is you're a shit whose name should never be mentioned again once you have, been sent on your way to jail or to the afterlife because you cut yourself after, murdering innocent people.
I think this episode is just going to be one long bleep. We've really gone down the rabbit hole here.
I'm sorry. So today we're talking to.
Hey, it's your podcast. We can talk about whatever you want.
Yes, but my whole thought process is just it, and maybe it's because I'm neurodivergent, or maybe it's because I have a heart, but I just don't see how anybody being different has any bearing on whether or not you can be happy.
Yes, it's because you're a decent human being. That's it.
Who condones?
There's a couple of them in the world. There's 3 of them right here.
Yes.
So there's a few.
Yay!
Yeah, and, they always say look for the good people. I am good people, even though I may say if you're going to kill people, just first. But
and good people, you can always spot them because they'll let you know.
Exactly. I need that Nobel Peace Prize. Kill us all.
You'll have to go to Venezuela.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I think the part of it is sort of like like FOMO to the nth degree of like, well, I wish I could be myself, but I follow rules of society, and I follow these self-imposed constraints and rigid expectations, because that's what I got to do to succeed and get through this life. And, if I can't be myself, why the fuck do they get to be themselves? And so, yeah, a lot of jealousy.
Yeah.
It is. It
For sure.
comes all the way back down to jealousy. They're angry that we have the nerve to be happy. They're angry that we have the nerve to show our faces and not be what they imagined us to be as miserable or, being defeated as, whatever we decide to present ourselves as. And I think that scares them a lot. And go ahead.
Or they're operating under the assumption that all autistic people are the results of the alien hybridization program.
Yes. I was hatched. I will die on that hill. I was hatched.
My brother's always called me the mailman's kid.
I got that too. Mailman, milkman, I was hatched from a egg from like Mars or something like that.
My mom told me she just found me under a rock on the side of the freeway.
I like that. I chose you because you were right there under that beautiful rock.
I was just going to take the rock home, but
Then you started crying, and what the hell? But I love this. This is a good conversation, as it should be. But anyway, so coming out, if you don't mind. How was that?
wait, coming out, I already did, though.
Well, when you publicly came out as yourself, how did that feel for you?
I had built it up internally, like it was way scarier than it needed to be, and it turned out to just be pretty procedural. And I had some questions to answer with my immediate family and stuff, and but I didn't really get much pushback, even from my conservative dad. Like he's, I don't know. I mean, it was definitely a big relief.
Mm-hmm.
When did you know? Because I know that some people know it from the age of birth, and some people just don't realize it until later. Did you always know, or was it kind of like a gradual awakening?
Well, it's hard to say because I didn't really have that. We didn't really have that language accessible back in like the 80s and 90s. Right. I mean, it was. I knew I was different. I actually ended up coming out 2 different times in 2 different ways because I came out first as bisexual then, and like, what was it, 98, and in the South, so that was pretty scary. And I ended up leaving the South shortly after that, so I wouldn't get myrtleized.
Yes.
But I don't know. The first time I saw a trans person, I was like, oh, shit. Okay, that's it. That makes sense. That instantly clicked. And unfortunately, like, that was, like, in a porno magazine, which, like, back then you just find in the woods when you're, a kid. And, like,
Yes.
and,
Quote unquote, in the woods.
no, literally in the woods.
No, I'm just saying for me, I found it in like friends' bedrooms and such.
Oh, right, yeah. Like, no, sometimes there would literally be magazines in the woods. You just stumble by a hobo camp when you're out playing, and it's like, hey, what is this? And but the craziest synchronicity, the first trans woman I saw in this, nudie mag, I ended up dating in Los Angeles, like 2 decades, like, well,
wow.
shit, like 15, 16 years later.
Damn.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What are the odds?
Yeah, I mean, wow. That's like dating Marilyn Monroe, or, after seeing her in Playboy. I mean, that's awesome. And I ask those things just because, again, like, I'm sure you've heard me say, I discovered myself this year. And, I discovered a lot more about myself because I had masked for so long. Because when you're, neurodivergent, you're usually ignored, especially if you're female. Mm-hmm. And it's not that my parents didn't know that something was off. They knew. But again, because I was, I had good grades and I wasn't causing trouble. I wasn't bouncing off of things. So they just, ignore you. And as I was discovering that, I discovered that I am bisexual, even though, like, because I always brushed it off. I'm looking at the ladies because I like their hair.
Right.
Or they have really good makeup on. And it's like...
That's not the important part.
No, it's not.
It's not what we're looking at.
And it really wasn't what I was looking at.
You're looking down here and you're like,
Yeah.
wow, that's a really nice hairdo.
Exactly. Look at the highlights in her hair.
What are you talking about? She's bald.
Curtains and drapes.
Yeah. But it was one of those things where I just kind of pushed it to the side because, again, growing up in the 80s and 90s, there weren't many words for those things. And if you were bisexual, it was kind of gross. And, you're not supposed to be that because you know that you're either gay or you're straight. You can't possibly be both.
Yeah, that's just greedy.
Right.
Right.
Or you're confused. That type of narrative was always around. So it's just like discovering myself later, I'd say it made me happy. I am a much happier person now because I know more of who I am than I realized. And, having those words and being able to see some sort of representation made a difference. From growing up being very, very angry about a lot of things and then being able to be free of a lot of that anger is amazing. And so, like, I wonder if you had similar emotions or if you, always understood because, again, I have that alien feeling of how come I didn't see this? How come I didn't know this about myself?
Well, because you were gaslit out of it.
Yeah.
Like, ultimately, like, it's funny how, like, the Venn diagram between, like, queer people and autistic people is just a circle.
Yep.
Because, like, at the end of the day, like, you look around, it's like, why is everybody making such a fuss out of it? It's just meat. Either you like that cut of meat or you don't. Like, who gives a shit?
Exactly. Right. And I've always had that thought process of who cares? As long as you're not trying to force me into that situation, then it doesn't matter. what you
Right.
do. And, you know, like the saying goes about a penis. We know you have one, and you can be proud of it. You can be proud of having one, but you don't need to show everybody
Right.
and shove it. You know, you don't need to shove it down people's throats.
Well, unless you're on a certain island.
Yeah, of course, with a person with the last name that starts with a T, but but
Wait,
and
you lost me. Like,
well,
that's too obscure of a puzzle piece.
what person starts with the last name of T?
Travolta.
Yes, yes. He wasn't there. I don't think. But even if he was, lock him up. That's the thing that just
Yeah,
drives
he can
me.
go from one closet to another.
Right. And it just, ew. They're children. Ew. Why the fuck do you want children? You disgusting pieces of grossness shit that are so gross that even shit's like, ew. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Is it like, have you ever met somebody and just want to punch them in the face?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. That's why I don't have any kids.
Oh, I've tried not to do that with mine. I'm just kidding. But I mean, I do admit there have been times when I would love to slap the shit out of my kids. I don't because that's abuse, but we all have those thoughts.
Oh yeah, I used to teach music. I had a lot of special needs students, and they were great. It was the spoiled rich brats that I wanted to.
Yep. They're the worst.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to teach like elementary school because I didn't want to have to deal with other kids and, you know, the insaneness that you were driven to when you have to sit down. I said sit down, and you just want to kind of rip your hair out. And I commend all of those people that are able to teach children. Because they can be the biggest little shits ever.
Yeah. Although I'm not sure college kids are much better because they know what they're doing and they can talk back better.
Actually, they're more respectful. They're easier to control. Well, not control. It's not like, welcome to my class. Now look into this. And, you know, I'm not like hypnotizing them or something. And I'll snap my fingers and you'll be awake.
Yeah, no, that's how you have to do it. Is mass hypnosis.
Yes. And no, we're not condoning massive hypnosis.
Well, I am. That's essentially what I do. I mean, it's consensual, but I mean, you know, I'm just, you know, I'm getting a group of people to imagine like what's in my head, you know, like this, I'm setting up a scene and then I'm crashing a bus into it for your laughs and enjoyment.
So I've never talked to an actual stand-up comedian. I got questions.
Oh, go for it.
So
How do you stand up? No.
when you're writing your stuff, your jokes and stuff, how do you know? This is a really stupid question, actually, but how do you know it's any good? How do you know it's any good? And then, like, how long does it take you to come up with everything? How does that process kind of go?
Well, at first you don't really know. You write a bunch of ideas down. Typically, if it makes you laugh really hard, then you got something.
Right.
And you go to an open mic and, you know, boo, crickets, get off the stage, you know, and the stuff that made you laugh, if it doesn't get a laugh in a crowd, then you go back, you know, and record every set is ideal. And you go back like, okay, maybe I wasn't communicating the idea effectively, and you move some words around, cut a bunch of words out of it, and you're trying to be as clear and precise as possible to get your idea from your brain into their brains. Sometimes you're just throwing a bunch of shit at the wall, see what sticks, but I don't know. I usually have a pretty good idea when I'm writing what's gonna work, at least at first, because I mean it's just like writing a song. You know, there's music theory, right? And you've got the forms and the charts, the modes, and all that stuff. Comedy's the same way. It's just it's not as a cohesive, formalized formula like as music theory is, because it's, you know, a way younger art form. But you know, it's
How do you not die from laughter at your jokes, though, when you tell them? Because when I watch comedians and they deliver their jokes, you know it's funny because you wrote it. But how do you not end up dying of laughter when you've told the joke along with your audience?
well, sometimes the first time is a little tricky, but I mean, again, acting. Like the better you sell it as, you know, you're being dead serious, right? The better you can, you know, sell that, the bigger the surprise, the bigger the pop. But there's definitely been times where I've struggled through I've gotten the giggles, you know, at an open mic trying out new stuff. But, you know, usually when you see a stand-up, they've told those same jokes like hundreds of times.
Right.
So, yeah, like, and if it's a really good joke, I mean, I still laugh sometimes on stage, you know, or, you know, the audience surprises you, and that's a good thing. You want to lean into it, you know, and
Yeah, because there's always that one person that has the most crazy laugh that just that like overrides everyone else's voice in the entire area and just has this strange laughter. And then it
that's fun.
That's what makes me even laugh harder is when I hear those people after watching, you know, stand-up comedians going. And I admire you because I feel like being able to find what people, what brings everybody together, and then being able to not only observe it, but have this quick wit about yourself, to be able to turn it into something funny, is amazing.
Well, if I hadn't have done that, I probably would have eaten a bullet a long time ago. So,
Well, I'm glad that you found that.
Have you dealt with the opposite, the assholes in the crowd that aren't cooperating, or that you have to kind of...
The hecklers.
Yeah.
oh yeah, hecklers. Honestly, like they're the reason it took me so long to get started in the first place, was that fear that there's gonna, every time I perform, there's going to be somebody trying to, you know, combat me with it. And it's like, they're fairly rare. Like, I'd say like 9 times out of 10, there's not some asshole in the audience that just hates you and wants everybody to know about it.
That's good to know.
Yeah. The most common hecklers are just drunk people that either think they're helping the show and want to participate, or they're ignoring you and having a loud conversation right in front of you while you're talking. And those people are easy to deal with, usually. Well, the non-combative hecklers. But it's good to have a couple of burns in your back pocket. Well, you know, I gave up pockets with all the other male privilege, but you know.
Yeah. Can we please talk about fucking pockets? What the hell?
And while we're at it, let's explain what magnets are.
Damn it, yes. I mean, what the hell is all of this shit? Why do females, AFABs, why do we lose pockets? I know why, but why?
To keep us dependent on men.
Yes.
Actually, I prefer having a purse because I can carry more shit around.
Yeah.
It is nice because there, you know, you need an umbrella, you need tissues, you need your makeup if you can wear it. I'm allergic to all makeup, so that's kind of done. Found that out the hard way. And ended up like lovely red lines down my face because I had to scratch it off, and it was fun. And then what else do you put in a purse? Oh, of course, a wallet.
taser, crystals,
Yeah.
a brick,
Yes, definitely. Cement.
breath mints, lubricant, tire iron.
Now that is a good idea. One of those tire irons that you push a button and it shoots out even further.
Oh yeah, those little, yeah, those look really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that was one of my hobbies as a kid. It was Metroid and bow staff.
Yep, there you go. I thought you were going to say using the tire iron. I thought you were going to say that was what you did as a kid, using the tire iron.
Oh,
Not
I've never
Metroid.
been able to change a tire.
I can't either. I don't feel so alone anymore.
Never had the upper body strength.
I never had to. All of my friends either did it for me or Mike does it for me.
Yeah. I remember one time getting a flat in the middle of Bumblefuck, South Carolina, at night, and I'm like, oh shit. And this was in my early 20s, so this is like way pre-transition, and like I'm outwardly goth and weird, and I'm like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. Oh wait, no, this was before cell phones, so like I'm like, okay, I think I remember how to do this, and I start getting the jack, but I'm like, oh, as soon as I jack it up, it starts crunching up the stuff. I don't have it on the right place, and it's just a total mess. And all of a sudden, this big pickup truck pulls up, and I'm like, oh shit, here we go. and some old like hillbilly dudes come out, and they're like, well, looks like you got yourselves a flat. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, here, let me help you out. And they just freaking help me change they just changed the tire for me and wished me luck and sent me on my way. And I'm like, whew, that's good. I thought I was about to get hate crimed.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that they were helpful. Yeah, I was with a friend of mine and Jill. We were in college. We had cell phone at that time, but it wasn't widespread. So you had those pockets of where there's like no hope of reaching anybody. And we had a flat tire, I think. Yeah, exactly. We had a flat tire and we pulled over, and the only light was in front of a fire station. Everything else was pitch black. So you felt like, at least in my mind, that I was in the beginning of a Stephen King novel. And I'm expecting like the worst things to come out of the shadows to get me. While my friend is changing the tire, and I'm like looking around every which way that I could possibly do to make sure she's okay. And she's thinking I'm like this nut job that she picked up off of, a boulevard, because she's laughing at me, thinking I'm nuts because I was telling her, Stephen King things are going to come out of the woods here.
Everybody knows clowns live in the woods.
Yes. And there's he can always come out of that.
We all float down here.
Yes, I love that story. One of my favorites. So, who is your favorite comedian, or one of your favorite comedians?
Ooh, that's up there with like favorite movie or favorite musician or favorite blade of grass in the yard.
Yes.
I'm guessing George Carlin's one, because you said that's kind of what got you into it.
Yeah, definitely him. I always liked Rodney Dangerfield.
Yes.
Emo Phillips is an all-time like favorite, one of my favorite joke writers, like Stephen Wright and Mitch Hedberg, and like I'm a huge Patton Oswalt fan. Dave Attell is one of the goats. One of my favorite breaking out comics who's like getting bigger and bigger. I got the privilege to open up for Sam Talent last year, which was awesome. I opened up for Ian Fidance. He's fucking hilarious. I got to host for Robin Tran, who's a hilarious trans autistic comedian out of LA. She's great. And yeah, like there's too many. I could just sit here and rattle off names.
No, and I was like thinking as you were rattling them off, I'm like, oh my God, I know these people. I know of these people. And that's like really cool. And like I grew up watching Carlin and Goldberg and of course Saturday Night Live, Eddie Murphy, and things like that. And I always enjoyed. I don't think we were supposed to watch them because I was probably like 5, but I watched a lot of things I probably shouldn't have.
Oh yeah.
We're probably going to get booed, but I don't think I've ever seen Carlin stand up.
He's good.
I've heard,
Dun, dun, dun.
but I don't think I've ever seen it.
He's really
He's
good.
actually his later works are from like the 90s into the aughts. Way more prescient and relevant today, like increasingly so. Like he just had his like finger on the pulse of the machinations of our despair.
He saw it. He saw the writing on the wall long before. As soon as we, voted in Reagan, he saw it coming. And
Oh yeah.
he was.
I was born that year.
I was born in Carter, so in '78, disco.
Well, in '81, I heard that Pride Month was celebrated in January because that's how skinheads celebrated the Reagan inauguration.
Yeah, I remember that. Not from firsthand knowledge because I was only like 3, but I remember hearing about that.
I wasn't born yet in January of '81.
No, you were.
I mean,
I was alive, just still inside my mama.
Ah.
Or inside the Pelican or whatever it is that delivered me.
The Pelicans.
I was born on the summer solstice in the Bermuda Triangle during a lightning storm.
I saw that on your bio on Threads.
I know, and I loved that too. And
It's true, and it's also how I avoid telling people I'm from Florida.
I was born during a winter storm. Like, Chicago was pretty much shutting down at that's how bad the winter storm was when I was born. And I always kind of figure that that's why I'm so like outspoken about certain things, because I was born during a mega winter storm that shut down Chicago basically. So I have to be that force, as weird as it is.
Well, unfortunately, we are running out of time.
Dun dun dun!
I always have to be the bearer of bad news.
Wah, wah.
But before we go, do you want to let people know how they can find you or how they can hear your comedy or anything else that you want to put out there to the world?
Oh yeah, I'm on the socials. Like Instagram, Facebook. Yes, people still use it.
Those old folk use it.
Like, YouTube, I've got a bunch of, my podcast is on there, and some of my, like, I just released a 30-minute taping, accidentally special. It's just a cell phone at a bar, but it was a good half hour of, good material. So Steph Stigma, like the social stigma.
Right.
And yeah, like quick Google, DuckDuckGo. Yeah, there we go.
Yes, I remember that.
You can summon me with the Necronomicon. My social security number is.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes,
this
and it
has
was
been an absolute blast.
I agree.
Thanks for having me.
No, it was our pleasure. It was an awesome conversation, and love to talk to you some more because I'd love to pick your brain.
Well,
Not
for sure.
literally, of course, because that would be too juicy and get
You
blood
open
guts.
it up and
Yeah.
open it up and a moth flies out. There's nothing in there.
All right.
Thank you again.
Bye.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to the Othering Podcast by Mike and Dory. Please like and follow us on all of your favorite social media.
The Othering Podcast is produced by LoudCore Productions, graphics by Josh, and music by Jordy James.